Hi, I'm Julia, and this is a mini workshop where we are going to practice a crow pose. So if you've been practicing your crow pose for a while and you couldn't get where the balance happens, this class is for you because we're gonna activate the main group of muscles we need for a crow pose, and we're gonna do some drills that can really help you to progress with the pose, okay? For this class, you might need 2 blocks, and let's get started in a cat-cow pose. Palms under shoulders, knees under your hips. Keep a neutral line of your spine, so we're not arching, we're not rounding, somewhere neutral. And make kind of spider fingers with your fingertips. From here, start shifting your weight forward, so your shoulders are overpassing your wrists and back, and try to feel this kind of micro engagement in your fingers. This is the way how your fingers will help you to balance in the crow pose. So move a little bit slow and notice the difference. And maybe another 2, 3 to warm up our wrists as well. And another 2. Okay, last one. Very nice. Okay, you can shake a little bit your wrists. If you need any additional warm-up for the pose, because we're not going through the main stretches, please do them, okay? And for the next one, we need a block. We're gonna sit in a butterfly pose, feet together. Make your knees feel comfortable and take a block and place it in between your knees. You're trying to squeeze the block, and this is exactly the way we're gonna squeeze, okay? Because otherwise, if we're not squeezing, if we're not getting our knees like there's a magnet, then they will basically fall down and we will fall out of crow pose. Relax and let your knees to go down just with the gravity. Keep your spine upright. Again, a block. Squeeze it so you feel inner thighs here. And again, remove. Relax fully your knees so they go down. Let's take one more. Squeezing, 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 and relax. Okay, these drills will really help you to get into your crow pose. Okay, again, squeezing, 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 and relax. Let's take last one. Again, squeezing. Remember that sensation you get, so it's like you are in a fist. Squeezing, 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 and relax here. You can bring your heels a little bit closer if you feel comfortable. And just a little bit moving your knees up and down. Breathing deeply, as we always do. And from here, we are getting to the next drill, which is a very, very important one. You will need 2 blocks, and you are going to place them just under your shoulders. You might not find the exact distance, so you will adjust it, okay, if necessary. So, what is super important, a little bit of theory before we're getting there. In a crow pose, as in many other balances, it's about shifting weight forward, and we have to shift so much while we keep this everything core, everything engaged, that we can hold ourselves there at the top. So we're gonna do some chaturanga push-ups. Don't worry, we're not going to do too many, so we're not really getting tired before we try the crow pose. So you place your hands just lower than your yoga blocks. And from here, neutral line of your spine, pelvic bone close to your ribs, so you protect a little bit extra your lower back, especially if you have some issues and you know it, then it's better definitely to be a bit more careful. From here, I need to learn to push my shoulders forward, and that's a good chaturanga drill. And then I bend my elbows clearly back and I land on the blocks. I still keep neutral line with the spine. I push up and I move back. Okay, let's try another, maybe 3, 4. Landing on the blocks, lifting up and back. So from this drill, I want you to get sensation that you really have to shift your weight forward. It's very, very important, okay? So we're not landing down, you know, in the middle, we have to move like swimming forward. Let's try another two. Bending elbows back, shoulders away from your ears, lifting up. Okay, that was a hard one. And let's do last one. Shifting forward, hop, lifting up and back. You can shake your wrists a little bit and do any stretches that you need at this point. And one more thing, which is, I would say, one of the most popular mistakes in crow pose, why we cannot understand why we're not getting there, is actually to place your elbow above your wrist. So there is a little bit of physics here. So imagine that you're getting into a crow pose here, and it's super hard to get into a pose if my elbow is here. So there is this ankle. There is no way I'm going to balance here unless you are like super, super strong. And I'm not even sure that this could happen, maybe in transition. So you need to shift your weight so much that elbow stays above the wrist, okay? We can have a small drill here, again with a block, to check that this happens. So you place the block just behind your wrist, and try to move forward as we tried before, landing on the blocks into this Chaturanga pose. So I'm moving forward, getting closer to the ground and back. The block stayed exactly where I left it, right? So it means you're doing everything right and you are already ready for the crow pose. If something like this happens, the block falls, it means you're not there yet. Just repeat these drills over and over again, and you will see that you are getting definitely stronger for your crow pose. You can even place another block under your shoulder to make it a bit easier, so you can land, like hop, and up. And another two. And up. You see, the block stays. That's the most important. Okay, now again shake your wrists a little bit, get ready, because finally we are getting to a pose now. So I will demonstrate first without blocks, but you can use blocks, especially if you feel like there is a fear of falling forward, and I completely get it. I've been there too. So what I was using sometimes, I was using just a pillow in front, so in case if I land, at least it's not going to be that scary, okay? So I'm going to remove blocks for now, and we will do a quick warm-up first into our Malasana pose. So you can squat down, deep yogic squat. Your heels might stay in the air or maybe down on the ground. If down doesn't happen, no worries at all. It has to do a little bit with anatomy. Palms together at your chest. Just warm up a little bit your hips extra here, moving a little bit from side to side, balancing. Proud chest, long neck, that's also important. And from here, taking a nice full inhale, exhale, and we're placing hands on the ground, okay? The difference with Chaturanga pose is that here, in this variation of crow pose, and we're taking the one which is the low crow pose, meaning that we're not pushing elbows back, we'll be more pushing them to the side. It's a little bit easier to learn, and this pose is more functional to go to progress from later. Okay, so we want to hug our shoulders, or maybe a bit lower. Find where you feel like you can touch and start squeezing. You will need it, okay? Fingers spread wide, moving like back and forth, micro engagements. You are on your tippy toes, and you will be bending elbows to the side, okay? That's completely normal. Try a few times, bending elbows to the side and getting closer to the ground with your face, okay? There is nothing scary from here, I believe. Okay, another maybe one. Okay. And let's go to the preparation. Sometimes it's easier if you start with your butt a little bit taller, okay? Fingers spread wide, remember, and we start landing, 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 hugging somewhere our shoulders, somewhere finding where it sticks. And from here, remember that we are starting getting closer to the ground, and we need to basically push with our toes to move more forward to the ground. Remember that sensation that we want to bring elbows above the wrist. So it means that yes, we have to really move forward. Just try a few times. Don't forget to squeeze where your knee landed. Just squeeze there, like you have a ball in your knees and the yoga block like we tried before, you want to squeeze it, okay? Last thing, which is also very important one, sometimes why we fall before we get there. We're not looking down at the ground. We're trying to look forward. It's basically physics. When we are more flat, we have more ability to control, right? The pose, more ability to start balancing, okay? So we're not rounding, not looking down. Again, hugging, maybe lifting in the beginning, and finding where it feels like you touch quite okay, shifting weight forward. And maybe you can shift so much that you can, in some point, feel a bit lighter. This is where we start micro engagement with the fingers. Maybe lifting one toe, maybe another foot, staying here, and slowly moving back. Okay? So, if this didn't happen, if you couldn't move too much forward, it means you might need something under your feet, and we can use a block. We can also use another block just under the forehead, so you are less scared. I know it's a really tricky pose, but once you learn crow pose, you can really progress, because it's kind of basics where you understand the mechanics behind the movement, and you can do much more fun stuff. Okay, let's try. Now, I am on the block, and maybe you can experiment. Maybe you want 2 blocks. Just take some time, take your play time, try a little bit and see how it works. Again, I'm here. Okay, maybe this one is too far. Spread fingers, spread wide. I'm landing somewhere. My elbows are pointing to the side, okay? Not back, to the side. And slowly, slowly I'm moving forward and back. So your journey, especially in the beginning, is basically to move back and forth without any jumping, and maybe lifting one foot, okay? So maybe in some point you feel like, okay, I'm actually moving already forward. You can place forehead on the ground, lift 1 foot, 2 feet, and back. So maybe this is your work, okay? So let's try another 2-3 times. I will remove the blocks, but please stay here and experiment a little bit, because we're all different, and something that might work for you might not work for someone else. So that's why it's important that you go through all the steps and experiment with all of them. Okay, one more time. Lifting a little bit, hips up. The elbows will be bending to the side, right? Like diagonal. And I am bending a lot in the beginning, landing my knees. I'm squeezing something. And slowly, slowly, I'm shifting weight forward. So I can feel that I'm looking forward. Maybe I lift at some point 1 foot, maybe 2. And maybe slowly back. Okay, so try few times, moving super slow, because that's the key. There is no jumping here. You have to move really slow, and this is where you build strength. Every time you move to a specific level, it means your body already is getting used to this, and next time you can move a bit further. With all these tips and drills, I'm sure that after some practice you will get your crow pose. And here in the Frog Project we'll be super happy if you share your wins with us, or if you have any questions you can just leave them below in the comment section, or maybe you can tag us on Instagram so we can also see how it's going on. Okay, thank you so much. Namaste. Have a beautiful day.